Hello again, my name's John. I'm a retired chef from the northeast of England in the UK, and welcome to my latest bread video. And in this one I'll show you how I make this basic white Dutch oven farmhouse loaf with multigrain seeds on top. And this is also another one of my no-knead recipes. You can view the ingredients list and full written method for this recipe on the recipe page on the channel's website. I'll leave a link in the description under the video, or you can click on the eye icon top right of the screen to take you directly to the recipe page. Before I go any further, I'd like to give a quick shout out to this week's Patreon and PayPal donators, and they are Elizabeth Davis, Wee Hyung, Ian Mahoney and Peter Davidoff. Thanks again guys, I really do appreciate all your support. And with that out of the way, let's get on with today's recipe. And for this loaf I'll be using my 4.7 litre or 5 quart cast iron Dutch oven, and I'll show you how I maintain it once I've finished using it a little later in the video. And if you haven't got a Dutch oven, you can also use a ceramic casserole dish for this bread, as long as it has a good fitting lid. Okay, as I mentioned at the start, this is a no-knead recipe, so all you need for this recipe is a bowl to mix it in. And I'll start the recipe by adding all of the ingredients, beginning with mixing the flour, salt and yeast together. Don't forget, the ingredients list and full written method are on the website recipe page. Just click on the link in the description box below, or click on the eye icon top right of your screen to take you directly to the recipe page. And once again, I know I go on about this a bit, but it really will improve your cooking skills if you use digital scales for all the measurements, including liquids. And the best and most accurate unit to use is grams. Remember, my gram is exactly the same as your gram. You can't say the same for ounces, cups, measuring jugs, teaspoons or whatever. There's way too much difference across the globe. Go metric, you can't go wrong. Not preaching, just saying. And using my trusty wooden spoon handle, I'll mix it together until I have a shaggy, sticky dough. You can use a stand mixer to do this part, but as it only takes about 90 seconds to do by hand, it's hardly worth getting your machine out for. Make sure you scrape down the sides of the bowl. And once your dough looks like this, cover your bowl. I use a shower cap for this, and set your timer for 45 minutes. If you're interested in having one of these extra strong proofing bowl covers, I have plenty in the website shop. Just click on the eye icon top right of your screen. It's just another way you can support the channel. When the time's up, it's simply a matter of scraping the dough out of the bowl onto a slightly wet worktop. And as you can see, the dough hasn't risen a great deal, but that's okay for the first rise. Now wet your hands and give the dough a few turns. Try to use this French style slap and turn technique for about 30 seconds as shown. It takes a little practice, but you'll soon get the hang of it. And as you can see, the dough immediately starts to look very smooth. Now get it back into the bowl, cover, and this time set your timer for only 30 minutes. Now while that's proving in the bowl for the second rise, you need to prepare some sort of vessel for the final rise, preferably something with a handle to safely transport the dough to the very hot Dutch oven, which you'll see in the video a little later. And in my opinion, the best piece of equipment to use is an 8-inch or 20cm wok, just like this one. And to make sure that the dough releases easily into the Dutch oven, it'll need to be well greased. I like to use plenty of butter, and to help the seeds stick to the bottom of the wok, I like to add a little vegetable oil too. And all I need to do now is to add the seeds to the wok. I'm using a mixture of sesame, pumpkin, sunflower, flax and poppy seeds. And you can use whatever seeds you like. Just make sure that they're evenly distributed across the whole surface of the wok. And that's the wok ready to proof the dough for the final 30 minutes. And if you're still not sure what I'm doing, all will become clear in a little while. Okay, once the time's up, do exactly the same as the first rise. Scrape it out of the bowl onto a slightly wet surface, and with wet hands give it a few turns, and this is just to knock it back. Now this area will eventually become the top of the loaf. And to make the seeds stick to the dough this time, I'll need to slightly wet this area. Now quickly but carefully pick the dough up and slap it down into the wok with the wet side down on top of the seeds. Now gently even out the dough as shown. If you're still following me, this will become the bottom of the loaf. Now sprinkle a little flour over this area to prevent the cloth from sticking. And cover it with the lightweight, clean, dry tea towel or dishcloth. Now set your timer for 30 minutes for the final rise before it goes into the oven. And soon as you set the timer for that final 30-minute rise, turn it on the oven, because that's how long it'll take the Dutch oven to get up to the proper temperature. So set your oven to 230 degrees Celsius, that's 445 Fahrenheit or gas mark 8. Don't forget to allow for any fan assists if you need to. Right, all I've got to do now is to get the Dutch oven straight in and let it heat up for that final 30 minutes. Okay, that's the 30 minutes up, and as you can see, the dough has risen quite nicely. All I have to do now is to get it into the very hot Dutch oven, so make sure you're prepared. First, I'll place the Dutchie on the stove. Don't forget to close the oven door to keep up the temperature. Remove the lid. There will be some smoke, so make sure your extractors are on. I'll show you where that smoke comes from a little later. Now take your wok and carefully tip the dough into it. You may have to give it a couple of light taps, but if you've greased it well, it should pop straight out. Now give it a quick swirl to centralise the dough and get it straight back into the oven. Incidentally, there's no need to put a pan of water in the oven to make the bread crispy, because inside the Dutch oven it creates its own steam. Now set your timer for 30 minutes. And while that's cooking, I hope you don't mind if I give my very first recipe book a bit of a plug. The book has lots of our favourite recipes from our work kitchens in it, and is available in the channel's website shop, along with loads of other equipment I use in the videos. It's just another way you can support the channel. I'll leave a link in the description box below the video, or just click on the eye icon top right of your screen if you want to order a copy today. Once the time's up, don't take it out just yet. Remove the lid from the Dutch oven and set your timer for a further 5 minutes, and this will harden up the crust a bit. And here's a little safety rule which is widely recognised across commercial kitchens. If you have a hot surface lying around like this seriously hot lid, place a light coloured towel across it like this. This will tell trained staff members that there's a hot item underneath. Not a bad rule to be employed in the home environment too. Right, once the final 5 minutes are up, I'll take this fantastic loaf out of the oven. I'll take it out of the Dutch oven on the metal drainer. And then I'll get it onto a wire rack and allow it to cool for 20 minutes or so. And when I come back to it, I'll show you what it's like on the inside. And if you tap the bottom of the loaf, it should sound like a drum, and that is a good sign that it's cooked. Right, as promised, I'll show you how I look after my Dutch oven when I'm finished using it. First, I rinse it out with plain hot water, no detergent. Allow it to dry, and then I give the whole thing inside and out, including the lid, a thin coat of vegetable oil. Incidentally, that's where the smoke comes from. I usually store it at the bottom of the oven when I'm not using it, and that seems to keep it well seasoned, as in non-stick and rust-free. And if you're interested in buying one of these Lodge Dutch ovens, I'll leave a link on the recipe page on the website. And no, I'm not being sponsored by Lodge, but as always, credit where credit's due. And that's it. Now it goes on the bottom of the oven, and that's where it lives. Even when I'm cooking other stuff, it happily just sits there. Okay, the aroma in my kitchen is absolutely amazing, and I can't wait any longer. So let's have a look on the inside of this beautiful bread. And as you can hear, it has a nice crispy crust. And the inside is soft and light. Also, this is a very versatile bread. It's great for sandwiches and toast, and it goes with soups and stews on a cold winter's night. It's a truly wonderful bread, and pretty easy to make. I'll try some of my homemade butter on a piece. And honestly, that tastes absolutely gorgeous. And this beautiful farmhouse crusty loaf would go very well with the panacaldi that I made in my last video, which also got a big thumbs up. And once again, please consider supporting my Patreon appeal for as little as $2 per month. Or if you prefer, you can make a one-off small donation using my PayPal page. It really does go a long way towards ingredients and production costs, as every penny pledged goes back into my videos. And whether you've donated or not, thanks again for your wonderful support in watching the channel. Well, thank you again for watching. Please like, share, comment and subscribe by hitting the circle above. If you do subscribe, activate the bell icon next to the subscribe button on my channel page. And by doing that, you'll be automatically notified every time I upload a new video. And in the meantime, here's a few of my other videos and playlists that you may want to watch. So, until the next time, be safe in your kitchen and bye for now.